Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as I turn my music down, to game number 2 of Relegades United versus Squid's Wards. And we had an interesting game number 1 where Squid's Wards showed some early game dominance that continued on into the middle of the game, really not giving any opportunities for mistakes to come through. And they ended the game in a quick 24 minutes. So we're looking to see how Relegades United can counteract that clean play and come back in a series and maybe take this to a game number 3. My name is Stretch, and I'll be your play-by-play caster today. And joining me once again for game number 2 is TheSavedOne on that color casting.
Right.
Saved, how are you feeling about this matchup so far?
I felt pretty good about game number 1, and it was a stomp. Now I'm feeling pretty good about game number 2, because this is the one game where Squid's Wards, Relegades, they need to come back and they need to fix something up, because something was not right last game.
Yeah, it seemed like we had just completely 2 different tiers of players in the mid lane there. Core and the Cat with smothering pressure on that mid lane Lucian, and it's reflected in these bans already. Lucian taken off the board there by Relegades United. They do not want to have to deal with that mid lane Lucian pick, and rightfully so.
Yeah, that's taken off the board, as well as that, the Warwick. So, I mean, 2 very powerhouse champions, I think, like you were saying. Last game we saw that, and they were just absolutely insane, where the Lucian dominated the laning phase and as well dominated the mid game. But now we're starting to see just kind of bans coming out from both sides. The Zac being taken off the board. Nothing too, I guess, out of the ordinary. But this is really where it starts to matter. The drafting phase, the first 3 picks.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. Picks are already going back and forth, man.
Yep, and there it is. Something that we've been commenting on the past couple of weeks here at Ascension eSports is the power of Fiora up in the top lane against tanks. And it looks like it's Squid's Wards who end up walking away with that champion select miniature victory there, and on the back of it. I mean, the reason that happened is because of not only the pressure that Rusty and Core and the Cat had on that Lucian and Warwick, but also Recrisis feeling the need to kind of pick away that Galio as soon as possible. And when you're not aware of Fiora being still up on the table, you can put yourself in a hard situation.
No, yeah, like, just the amount of, I guess, unique potential that Fiora has is insane, because you really do need to know how to play against one if you are going to face against one. It's not that cookie cutter style of a champion where you can just get into lane, all right, I'm gonna farm for the next 20 minutes, then I'll maybe join my team. No, Fiora's that type of champion where she's gonna be constantly making you think of what is going to happen throughout the whole entire laning phase. So this Galio really needs to play this passive game and not try and engage against this Fiora. And if he does, she's gonna just parry everything, man. It's not fun.
Really got to watch out for this 1v1 up here, but we're already tearing through these picks. Double shields available on the Karma and Orianna on Relegades United, so really looking to put a lot of power and the extra health they can provide either to the tanks, or maybe if they're looking for a late game carry and come on shoot faster, they can really support them too.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my mind went blank there.
That's all good.
What happened?
I don't know, but let me continue on here as the Ivern and Varus pick up for Squid's Wards offer a little bit of interesting catch potential for their team comp as well, so maybe looking to isolate targets one at a time.
Oh yeah, like the Ivern definitely complements the Varus in a lot of ways. We see this a whole lot in the competitive scene, where you'll basically have this utility style AD like Varus, and he's picked a whole lot in the competitive scene as a whole, just because of how much damage he offers, the amount of poke that he offers, and just the amount of overall damage. Even his ultimate is used as this kind of utility style thing, where if he picks off one person, it doesn't really matter what exactly happens to Varus. If everyone is just standing around this Galio and he ults the Galio, just tries to peel for himself, even just poking whoever gets very low, then this Varus has basically just done his job. And then the Ivern complements him in the sense where he's got shields upon shields, and then the Daisy on top of that.
A lot of support available for these guys here, as once again the last couple of picks are focused on the carries of the game. 2 80 carry picks for Squid's Wards and 2 mid lane picks for Relegades United, really making sure that there's not a lot of options for these last couple of pickups here. But first things first, Leona Del Bay, once again going towards that Tahm Kench and picking that up. A fantastic option for protecting your squishy characters.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing if paired up with the Varus, just because of how immobile Varus is as a champion. The only thing he really has for disengages is E, and it's such a small range that if you have the Tahm Kench with you, he can just eat you up, he gets the increased movement speed, and then just gets out of the fight with ease. He can spit you out, and then you can just flash your heal away, whatever needed to try and get out of the fight alive.
Yeah, not only that, but I like this flex pickup here. You notice that Come On Shoot Faster locked in Olaf for his team, and I'm led to believe that they're shifting the Recrisis Galio into the jungle on Godfist Yasuo, and instead of having just the heavy tank matchup against the Fiora up in the top lane, they'll probably throw that Olaf onto Recrisis top lane and then have him match up because he has no CC requirement there, and he can ignore the stun.
Nah.
What? That would be so good for them. All right, they're not gonna do it. I would have totally done that mess.
No, I would have, it would have matched up nicely. I see, your point, because Galio gets absolutely destroyed in this lane matchup just because his W is in a sense useless.
Yeah.
Because if you use W versus Fiora just gets free vitals off if the RNG is in her favor. But I mean, if you're facing an Olaf, he has his ultimate where he can get out of any slow situation that Fiora puts him in, but he also has the poke. But then you also have to ask yourself, what does Galio jungle do for you, right? It's an okay clear with the AoE, but it does not offer the same gank potential like Olaf would. Olaf is that type of champion. He wants to run at you, he wants to pop his ghost, which is not taking this game, and just absolutely just stare you down and make you just fear your life. Galio doesn't really do that. He's that follow-up style. Oh, he's taking ghost. That's good. But he's that type of champion where he can follow up, he can use his E, but there's a little bit of a delay. There's the flash, but you have to use your or not your flash. You have your W, but you have to use your flash. You have some Q for some poke, but in all areas, I think Olaf's good. Galio just needs to know how to play against the Fiora.
It's such a back-footed matchup there for the Galio, though. It's going to be him queuing the wave a lot and hoping that he can just get as many minions as he can based off his passive and that queuing ability, because the second he even tries to Justice Punch, if Horseman 4 is paying attention and gets that riposte, it turns into a mess very quickly. But let's run through these team comps very quickly. You did a brief introduction on what Relegades United is looking for here, but let's turn our attention towards Squid's wards with their Fiora, Ivern, Syndra, Varus, Tahm Kench composition. What are some things that these guys can be doing over the course of the game to make sure that they're playing to some of the potentials that these characters have?
I think that they have a lot of engage, but then they also have a lot of pick. Because when you look at a certain comp and you want to know exactly what they do, you see the type of moves that these guys have, right? Where Syndra, she's very single target. Varus, he has his long range poke. Tahm Kench's main job is to get some people into the fight or also try and re-engage. But then he can also engage himself, either using his ultimate or just using the power of Tahm Kench, where you can just walk up to somebody and start licking them a couple of times. But then you also see what Ivern can do for a team comp, and he can also engage with his single target damage. So you combine a lot of single target damage together to form this very nice pick/team fight comp, and I really like it because there's a lot of burst and there's a lot of poke and there's just a lot of everything. It's just basically everything combined into one big comp. And you can also argue that this team doesn't have a tank, but it doesn't even matter because you have your Fiora, and if she stays alive for the whole entire fight, she can proc her vitals and she can just shred through the tank.
Yeah, not only that, but not having a tank isn't so bad in the situation where you've got Ivern supporting with a lot of shields and Daisy running around getting that CC as well. So there is some decent frontline holding potential for these guys. But like you were saying, Fiora being on your squad basically means that the enemy team almost doesn't have a tank, even though you don't either. So it kind of brings down those tanks into a much more manageable position. Looking back on Relegades United once again, just really quickly, let's take a look a little bit deeper into some of the things they can be doing to try to put themselves on a higher level here, because these are the guys who really need to adjust their play and prove some things to us, because Squid's wards, they've already shown that they can hold their own in the league. What do you think Relegades United need to really do with their specific team comp to come out with a W here?
This looks like the type of comp that you would just run at somebody with. And it's just that heavy engage style comp where it's going to start, every single fight is probably going to start with either an Ashe arrow or the Olaf running at you with Ragnarok on. So it's just going to be either one of those two things, and then Galio's going to follow up with whatever he has to offer. Orianna's just going to be there using her ball and just trying to shockwave whoever she can shockwave. To complement all of that, you've got a Karma there in the bot lane that can speed the whole entire team up to try and catch up with that Olaf. Because in some cases, some mains who have just kind of like this speed up style thing like Olaf will get totally just carried away with where they are in the fight, and the rest of the team is basically just set foot way far behind because they couldn't catch up to this one player. But the thing is, when you have a Karma on your team and she can use her mantra E and speed up the whole entire team, then you're perfectly fine.
So a little bit of a diving potential available here for the Relegades United, but they still need to make sure that they maintain control of the top lane, make sure that they mitigate the amount of damage that Horseman 4 is able to do to the health bar of Recrisis. And maybe look for some caches here. Come on, shoot faster on that Ashe. Always has the enchanted crystalline arrow to try to isolate somebody before the fight even has a chance to start cleanly. And see if they can't pick them off. You have to imagine the major target for that ability is Koran the Cat, who showed amazing prowess in the mid lane last game. We're getting ready to get into this match already. Both these teams lined up ready to go, and I'm interested to see how these guys choose to play this early game, because we've seen some invading, we've seen some 5-point starts.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to go aggressive at this level 1?
It really does feel like Squidward wants to try and do something, as interesting as that sounds, just because they're on the aggressive side. So if they can get a kill in the early game, it's going to snowball to the point where they could potentially win the game. We saw the snowball potential last game where a couple of champions would get some kills. I think it was the Warwick that got that double kill in the early game, and he just snowballed completely. He got a lot more kills. He got his ultimate very early. He got around to the lanes, and he was used as this tank threat where you just can't stop him. But this time, you're putting this guy not on an aggressor, but you're putting him on Ivern. So you're starting to see the different playstyles of certain junglers and how they can adapt in this competitive setting. If Rusty can do that, then he's a pretty good jungler. If he doesn't really know how to play the Ivern, if he just kind of spaghettis all over the place, then you gotta take him away from the passive style jungler and put him on something aggressive.
Yep, wards going down there by Squid's wards. They've got the Ivern pickup, which means that the buffs of Relegades United are always almost in danger as long as Rusty knows when the timer is going to be. Looks like Godfist Yasuo is choosing to start this bottom side, which causes Rusty to shift immediately to this top side and start his red buff. Or the chicken camp just want to get that passive down on it immediately and then potentially look for the invade. Recrisis on the top river, trying to guard both entrances at the same time. I like that positioning quite a bit, but he doesn't have enough time to sit there and guard it for the entirety of that spawn duration. Rusty's going to have a window here where he can definitely get this camp prepped, get its red buff prepped, walk over to the blue buff, and probably steal that thing away. He's very quick.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options for this Ivern to do here in the early game, and it's also one of the things that facing an Ivern can do to you, where you just have no idea what his pathing is going to be throughout this whole entire laning phase. Now they put the ward in the river, and they see that Ivern is going over to the blue buff, but he's just going to walk out alive just because they could not respond to this aggression coming out of Ivern. He's got his flash, his lanes have prioritization. Even if Galio tries to do anything here, Ivern's walking away with 2 buffs, and maybe even the 3 buff at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's probably going to have a 3 or 4 buff here. Olaf not choosing to invade the enemy blue buff in response rather than still playing towards his top side of the map. All of his jungle is pretty much going to be completely under pressure here if he's not careful. Bottom lane, a lot of trading back and forth between Leona Del Bay and Alua Akbar on these supports, just poking each other back and forth quite a bit, but it looks like it's a Relegades United duo who's actually got the pressure here and is able to push these guys under turret to get that level 2 first. And because of that, they're able to stay safe in the lane. Minions completely matched up here on the bottom side, though, as no one's really started to take hold of this advantage. You see Rusty going low in the jungle there as he takes away that frog camp, but still able to get that 3 buff start and take away that red buff of his own. Olaf completely behind a little, actually just a little bit behind here in terms of XP, not not all that much, as they do meet in the river. Olaf going to be the one to take away the Scuttle Crab potentially, but seeing how low Rusty is on his life total, he's inclined to step into his jungle. Not enough pressure potentially out of the mid lane there to really make this a successful thing, though. Corrin the Cat still has every window to collapse into the jungle and pressure on this invade, though.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Olaf wants to do here, is he wants to try and get into the enemy jungle and maybe try and make something happen. The thing is, if he tries to force it way too much and his bot lane has prioritization but doesn't get there first, it could mean trouble for him.
Yep, slow going down on Leona Del Bay, trying to get this Olaf. Olaf smiting the dragon, actually gets some life back. It's Leona Del Bay who's in trouble now as Bacon-tastic rotates over from the mid lane, throwing down that thick skin there. Leona Del Bay able to walk out. The command attack and the barrage of arrows from Ashe not doing enough damage there. Crisis goes too low to continue that fight. Horseman 4, had he flashed, he might have been able to proc the Vital there on the front side of the Galio before it reset out of vision. And maybe walk away with the first blood for himself and start snowballing that lane, but instead, Crisis able to walk out because Horseman 4 wanting to make sure he doesn't throw away his already inherent advantage up in their top lane matchup.
Yeah, and you look towards this top lane to see that this Galio, he already has low mana. He did not start that corrupting potion. So he's basically sitting underneath his tower, and he's not sitting in a good place. He's already 15 CS down, and it's only 5 minutes in. Transitioning towards the mid lane, nothing too much happening there. Corrin the Cat finally showing his aggression there as well. He's going to hit 6 level soon. And it's all about that threat of the Syndra one-shot. No one wants to go through that. But you do have to factor in that that could be a possibility once she starts to get her components of her Morellonomicon.
Yeah, Morellonomicon, really one of the prevalent items that mid laners get. You see it on almost every single mid laner first item because it offers such desirable stats. But that being said, both of these mid laners picking up that lost chapter for the mana regen first off. Such a powerful item, especially in the early game when you're leveling up very quickly. But they just gives them a lot of control there.
I noticed when I face Syndra's there in the mid lane and she finally gets her lost chapter, her orbs start doing so much more damage. It's absolutely insane. The top side of the map, Rusty, again, going in for the jungle, invading, gets the blue buff. He just walks out swagging out of there. He's done. He's out.
No problem whatsoever. Their root lands on the bottom side as Iris0 is stunned up by the karma of Aluha Akbar. But once again, Leona Del Bay in position to make sure that he doesn't take any additional trade damage with that eat. And we'll just walk out there. A little bit of poke back and forth there as Iris0 decides to go in for a little cheeky auto attack there. Will be shielded up just a little bit there. And yeah, come on, shoot faster, and Halua Akbar are doing a fantastic job of holding their own in this lane. They are a little bit behind in farm, but not too much. A lot of that can be still made up very easily as we're very early in the game, only 6.5 minutes.
And this is not really expected because you see the start that Varus did, and he did the Doran Shield. So he doesn't have any, he doesn't have the extra pot that you would have last patch. But now he's finally surviving in this lane with this Tahm Kench. He's getting off a lot of poke damage, and he's basically just healing off of whatever Tahm Kench can lick. So whenever he does hit the Q, Varus just goes up, pokes a little bit, gets some health back, and then just resets. And then you also have the Doran Shield passive itself, where it regens 5 health for 5 seconds? I think it's something like that.
It's a lot of HP when you get hit.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of HP. But a lot of utility there in the bot lane. That's just expected from a utility style bot lane. In the top lane, though, looks like there's a little bit of aggression.
Yeah, top lane, and a little bit unlucky there by Crisis. There was actually a second Vital that spawned during that taunt, and you could hear it get procced. So two quick Vital procs there for Horseman. The Horseman 4 actually pretty much negates the damage that he took and gets some damage in for him because it's got healing, movement speed, and it's true damage. So it's, it's a pretty good ability. Dash in actually gets completely negated there. He's going to get all 4 of these Vitals very easily here and just pick up a quick first blood, no problem, healing back to full life afterwards.
Yeah, and even though Crisis had the flash up, he just couldn't flash just because of what the Horseman 4 prioritized in that fight. Is he didn't prioritize the Vital that was easy to get. He prioritized the hard one first. He got the left one, the back one, and then he moved on over to the right one, and then he finally finished it off by just sitting back and saying, all right, the front one's left, I can easily get that one. In the bot lane, it looks like Ivern's just trying to go down here, but I think it's called the Train of Corruption misses. So there was no real take on that one. So just because Recrisis had to go back, or not go back to base, he died. It looks like Ivern maybe wants to go for a dragon here, but just says no. We have no idea where Olaf is.
Yeah, no potential to go for that one quite yet. 8.5 minutes into the game, and the bot laners are finally making their first trips back to base. It's going to be the Cutlass picked up there by Iris Zero, and in the mid lane, the easy R click by Corin the Cat to finish off the Orianna. Are you kidding me? Okay, I was gonna say he ignited there, like he believed that he could finish off the Olaf, and I was like, is he gonna do it? He had me believing, but he ended up going down at the end of the day.
Yes, it was very, very close. I think that if Syndra had the QE and then she landed maybe like 3 more or 2 more, I think the possibility was there. But I think that at the end of the day, Olaf just undertow, finished her off, and now she gets to go back to base. She got the boots, which is very interesting. Actually, no, it's not interesting because it's standard. But now she's got the boots versus the Orianna. Orianna, she's trying to get the Merc Treads to face against the Syndra's damage, but it doesn't even matter. The Syndra's just at the point where it's like, all right, I'm trying to one-shot, and I'm going to try and one-shot.
Yep, top lane looks like Horseman 4 going in very quickly here, and already at this stage in the game, the Phage combined with the Tiamat, I like that 1-2 punch he's going for items. The mobility of the Phage means that he can get to the vitals quickly, but he doesn't lose to the mini-wave pushing potential of Recrisis' Galio there, so offering a lot of harass. Mid lane Corin the Cat just chunking down the health bar of Bacon-tastic.
Yeah, going back to the point with the two different items, we see that a lot with different style champions. We see that a little bit with Jarvan's, but they're in the bot lane. A lot of
potential gank here, and Chain of Crystal Arrow not used quite yet. Chain of Corruption actually going to pop on the Ashe here, and they lose that gank option. I don't know why Come On Shoot Faster chose to hold on to the Ashe Arrow for so long. It's like they wanted it to be guaranteed, but they were so close that I don't think that Leonardo Del Bay could have dodged out. Mid lane, Shockwave used. Looks like it's going to force the flash out of Corin the Cat. This entire time, it looks like the likes of Relegades United, I'm sorry, not Relegades United, Squid's wards are taking away that Rift Herald.
Yeah, and what I really like is how these guys are playing this game is almost kind of like a pulley system. If Olaf tries to do something somewhere on the map, wait, what?
Mid lane, Godfist Yasuo. He just walks up, man. He didn't even throw it early to interrupt the back. He just says, maybe if I don't do any damage, I can sneak up to him. Just finds him.
Yeah. A little bit of a fight coming out of this Fiora.
Yeah, top lane, Horseman 4 trying to get this kill. Flashes in and just, wait, that last one did so much. Oh man, and I think it's because you've got that that mastery that's increased damage as enemies get low, and that just absolutely obliterated him at the end.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, going back to the point of a police style system, Olaf tried to gank the bot lane, and then as a result of that, Ivern says, "All right, we're gonna go do the Rift Herald." So it was almost kind of like just that, like. Fact where they're not letting the Olaf get away with anything. If he wants to show himself somewhere on the map, Ivern is going to do something proactive, and he needs to do something proactive just because he hasn't gone around in this game, which is completely fine because he has very strong lanes. But now Fiora is getting ganked towards his top side, goes to spot from Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf looking to come in with the undertow. Flash forward, actually, the taunt is completely negated by this Fiora. There's so many vitals available for this Fiora here. I think they might be able to last long enough to make this 2v1 happen. Yeah, and they do finally get it. Last vital for Recrisis is going to be the double kill for the Fiora there. And bottom lane now, we've got a bloody duo, a bloody 2v2 going down here. Recrisis sticking in for this one. He doesn't have mana to actually pop his abilities anymore. And because of that, Come On Shoot Faster is able to pick up a secondary kill here. Wait, hold on. No, Alua Akbar gets the auto attack in and finishes that one up, saying, you know what, I deserve a little money too.
Yeah, he's just saying, look, I supported you throughout this whole entire laning phase. I want some damage too. But throughout all of that, this Fiora is an absolute beast here in this top lane, and she can 1v9 even if her bot lane is useless. And this is the sole fact, or this is exactly why they put this guy on Varus, is because he's a utility style ADC, and the only thing that they need out of him is a little bit of poke and maybe even his ultimate. Other than that, they don't really care if he dies. Because that's just the ADCs. Yeah, it's a tough life, man, when you're in a mobile ADC like Varus. He shoots out his ultimate. Maybe he can use his Bork in some senses, but If he dies, then it's like, all right, you used your ultimate, that's pretty good. But other than that, you don't want to waste any Ivern shields on him unless your Fiora is not there in the fight. If your Fiora is there in the fight, then you want to use everything on her because you know that she's going to be getting into the fight and she's going to be trying to get her grand challenge off. And if she can get that off, in a sense, the fight is already won. Just because she's already healing, the Ivern is there giving her the shields, the Tom Kench can just eat her whenever he really wants to. Now Fiora, she's transitioned her lead from the top lane now into the bot lane. So the Chain of Corruption is available for this Varus maybe in like a second, but once that happens, you're gonna be seeing a fight.
Yeah, Horseman 4 in the brush here, steps forward, will get to come on, shoot faster immediately. Ultimate pop, Grand Challenge will go down. The Enchanted Crystalline Arrow actually used to stun up the Fiora there in just a moment. Now, Horseman 4 sticking with the rest of the crew as actually everyone on the map is starting to get pulled down by this pressure in the bottom lane. Godfist, Yasuo, and Vegantastic in the brush here. Orianna ulti actually going to be held on to there and not pull Leona Del Bay back into the fight as they do not want to fully commit onto this brawl. And it's the Air Drake that's available to them in this river as well. Lane looks like Come On Shoot Faster now has a window to actually go down and finish off a couple of the minions here as top lane. We've got Recrisis and Rusty just going in a 1v1 trying to battle over this top lane outer turret. And yeah, it's no problem to actually make that defense happen because Ivern is absolutely ridiculous and he's pretty much a support champion for the real champion of Daisy.
Yeah. And Ivern there in the top lane slowly started to engage, not really noticing that the Fiora is slowly just behind. Recrisis does not have his...
It's hard to watch. Oh, wait, hold on.
Ulted out.
Wait, he's gone.
Oh. He didn't have his flash, and I was going to say, all right, he's dead. And it was really cool because Orianna stopped farming, but in the bottom lane.
Ooh, bottom lane, good double stun coming out of Corin the Cat. Yet again, ultimate dropped on Come On Shoot Faster. They could have probably picked up Godfist Yasuo a little bit easier here if they chose to change the target of that Syndra ultimate, but with this Grand Challenge usage, they're going to pick up the Olaf regardless, and no problem for this Fiora to just run in and cut these people down very, very quickly.
I love how this Fiora player did not get depressed at all that she didn't get the kill onto the Galio and then just stayed top lane and say, well, I'm up here, I'm going to try and get something for my troubles. She says, no, there's going to be a fight in the bot lane. So she immediately gets ready, she TPs to the ward there in the bot lane, and then just gets a double kill. Now she's 6-0-0. The Ivern, he doesn't even care anymore. He's basically just like, all right, I'm an objective taker. I can defend. That's about it. That's all I've been used for this whole entire game. Other than that, I have shields and I've healed. But the Syndra as well, her job is to try and get some AoE off with her orbs, and then just try and one-shot somebody, which is exactly what she did there in the last fight. She saw that the Ashe was a little bit low, she overstepped, and then just one-shot.
No problem picking up that gold down there in the bottom end. Karma actually going to let that Varus recall and say, you know what, I probably don't want to fight you right now because I'm a little bit far behind. Actually, no, she's actually doing perfectly fine there. But either way, the red team sitting up a bit of gold here, 4K at the 16.5 minute mark as the Wind Drake is still completely available here, but the bot lane outer turret is under pressure by Relegades United. Really wanting to see if they can get some team gold rolling down here as once again, Daisy has been used, and they're going to focus Daisy down here fairly quickly. Shield used on the Daisy, and now Daisy actually falls very quickly. So Ivern ultimate down for almost no effect there. It does push them back off the turret, but that's about it.
It's so interesting how they're using this Ivern here in this game. He's almost just kind of like, he's not feeding, so he's not doing bad. But he's just doing his exact job, where he's acting as that support. And he's not he doesn't have any like kills on the board or like any assists, so he's just going into a lane. He's creating just kind of like that distraction with his bush, and he's just waiting. You see here in the mid lane that he's trying to get some moves off, but he really can't.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to be able to close that gap there. Once again, Shockwave completely held on to. Top lane, the counter to the taunt yet again. He's able to get the Justice Punch away from that fight, but he takes so much of his health bar so quickly in damage.
Yeah, this Fiora, no real surprise at this point where she's just going to be one-shotting people. She just one-shotted tanks. So, I mean, it's at that point of the game where you need to send 3 or 4 people up here to deal with this Fiora, but even then she has the mobility and she has the rest of her team with her. just because Syndra knows the prioritization where it needs to be. So she's trying to take her lead towards that top side, as well as this Ivern just taking over Olaf's jungle completely. This is one thing that Olaf does need to do here in these games. He needs to get around here in his own jungle, and he needs to try and get some camps wherever he can. But Fiora maybe looking for the 2v1 potential air.
Yeah, going very hard here. Actually, the rest of the squad showing up. Ivern walks the wrong way and is forced to flash over the wall. But Grand Challenge thrown down. He flashes out of the Orianna Shockwave and actually gets himself in the brawl. He takes the exhaust away and says, I'm taking that one with me. Get me out of here. But the follow-up flash from Ashe will end up picking up the kill. Godfist Yasuo now on the chase for a little bit of a tree. He's got the X. This is probably the hard counter to Ivern here. The Lumberjack in tow, ready to just chop you down at your roots. But it looks like Dave's able to get a last knockup that will save his life there and allow him to get back to the turret.
Dude, I love Ivern, man. He just makes me so happy.
Oh my goodness, look, he's actually gonna go down right here. Wait, what? All right, there we go.
He's dead.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna walk out.
He's gonna swag walk on out of there.
Yeah.
But finally, Ashe being in a sense useful. She's being used exactly what she needs to be used for. She finally has a kill under, or not 2 kills under her belt. She also has a couple of assists. She also used her arrow to pick up 1 kill. I don't know if it hit, but it's exactly what Ashe's job here is here in this game, is to act as this range style force that needs to have a lot of peel in order to deal with certain carries. But Syndra looking for a lot. Hero's entry is protected.
Wow, cleanse used immediately there by Bacon-tastic as well. Really fearing the duration of the stun. Did not want to put themselves in a position where Corrin the Cat could follow up with more damage into an ultimate. Because right now they do have a little bit of magic resist, actually a decent chunk of magic resist between their Merc Treads and their Banshee's Veil, but the amount of damage that Syndra's able to throw down very quickly is still a threat.
Yeah, the Syndra, the threat of her ultimate is still there, but we haven't really seen it ever since that fight there in the bot lane. So what I think the Syndra needs to do is use her Haunting Guys, use her Blasting Wand, and also use the Relegades and try and one-shot somebody. Once she can do that, that's when her team can really start making plays. You cannot rely on this Fiora to be this, in a sense, just engager as well as this huge like tank force. But you need to also, I guess, rely on some of your teammates to try and do something. The Syndra, she needs to one-shot somebody.
Gotta get that damage down as quickly as possible on these targets here, but it looks like the teams are splitting up just a little bit. Baron has spawned as it came up a minute ago, actually. And with Horseman 4 having that TP available, they're going to send them down into the bottom lane, and this is the perfect positioning for Squid's wards, because we've already talked about, or you already mentioned how Fiora needs 3 or 4 people to handle her. She'll win the 2v1s a lot of the time here, so
yeah.
If they don't send someone else down here to handle her, she's going to continually harass Recrisis and potentially take this turret. Bot lane, it looks like they do have the Ashe available, but they're not quite going in just yet. Daisy popping the mid lane, though, as Akbar is able to walk away out of that one, no problem. On the side of the map, it's come on, shoot faster, and Recrisis for holding off this Fiora as best they can, but they've realized that we have to send Recrisis down here to just delay so we can get a team fight engage with our primary engage. If they don't have Ashe with the rest of the squad, they can't pick anyone up, and they really need to start doing that as they actually start doing so on Rusty. He's able to walk backwards just a little bit. His own redemption keeps him up for a little bit longer, but come on, shoot faster, using that Enchanted Crystal Arrow to get that last hit. Horseman 4 ending up underneath the turret yet again, and once again, that last hit looks like it does so much. It just absolutely obliterates the health bar of Galliard. Up stun lands onto Comanche Faster, chunking his health down to about 25% here. Godfist Yasuo walking a little bit too close, will get ulted out by the Syndra, but will not go down thanks to the return command protect from Bacon-tastic. Now, Godfist Yasuo is forced to recall back to base as Bacon-tastic is the last bastion of defense for this top lane inner turret. Bot lane inner goes down to Horseman 4, who once again has that amazing 1v1 potential and sustain on this Fiora, so able to get the global objective regardless and get some summoner spells out of these guys as they continue to bear down pressure.
And the thing that I was going to add with this Fiora here in this bot lane is that Galio was pushing up just a little bit too far. It was not in a good position. He was basically shoving up, in a sense, trying to taunt the Fiora that he had the backup. But then once Fiora noticed that there was a fight starting off top lane, she says, wait, this Galio's alone. So she completely just one-shots the guy, even though Galio tried to flash away, he tried to E away. Doesn't even matter when you have a Fiora that she has her Q up every couple of seconds, and when she hits the vitals, it's even shorter. So, I mean, she got the tower in the bot lane, as well as the rest of the Squid wards tried to get something in this top lane. I think they just got like 1 or 2 kills, or just 1 kill, or not even any kills, but that's about it. All this team needs to do now at this point is, again, send the Fiora into the bot lane. Hopefully she tries to get something, but this Baron is a huge objective here. And we saw that last game, I believe, where they were not afraid to go for the Baron.
Yeah, and we ended up in a situation where Godfist Yasuo had flashed into that pit. You were commenting last game on how he had the smite available, and he could have stolen away, but he got a little bit too caught up in CC and delayed, and ended up not getting anything there but a death for himself. Maybe he can make it up for himself here and see if he can't ward some of these guys off of this buff. Ward goes down to spot out the recall timer for our Godfist Yasuo. Ash Arrow still not being used here, as they do not want to fully commit onto a brawl, even though they did see Varus up in the top lane off of the vision of the minions he was killing. So he was definitely not in position for a fight, and I think that they might have been able to pick someone off here, but they're really being hesitant on how they handle this situation, because they know if they mess up here, the Baron will be taken and the game will end very quickly. Mid lane, they actually find a stun on Corin the Cat. He's trying to walk out of that one, but Bacon-tastic is able to finish him off no problem. Godfist Yasuo forced to kind of dance around, stay tasty, and try to keep the enemy team interested, but he's going a little bit too far now. No one else is with him. He's got the vision, or the vision denial from this brush here. He separates himself, isolates himself from the rest of the squad as well. It looks like Horseman 4 looking for the ultimate finishing up here. With so many redemptions getting popped in this brawl, I can't even figure out where this Fiora ended up, but they do get the kill on Galio at the end of the day. Horseman 4 is still at max life despite going down to about half earlier on in the brawl. And they're able to walk away with a pick for themselves in exchange for Corin the Cat and some pressure on this next dragon.
Ooh, this Fiora over the wall.
Oh, yeah, over the wall. Horseman 4 jumping onto Bacon-tastic, forcing the flash out, snared up, but they riposte it, and they're not able to get the counter stun, but they allow themselves a window to walk away from the additional damage.
Yeah, I think that the rest of this team are just trying to back off and trying to get whatever they can get. The one thing that I was kind of worried about is that Fiora, I don't think she had her TP in that last fight, and even if she did, she just basically said, all right, I can just walk to the fight anyway. So she walks into the fight, and that whole entire fight was very clear to me until the Galio ulted and everyone just went flying into the sky. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was like. It was like, all right, cool. So Fiora's in on the target, and then everybody shuffle. Wait, what happened?
Wait, where did Ash go? She was like 1 hit from dying, and then I finally just refocused my vision. I'm like, wait, Ash is on full health. How the hell did that happen?
Yes, exactly.
So, finally, at the end of the day, it was a 2-for-0, but I mean, it was a mess of a fight. So I think that if Fiora can continue to do this type of fight where she can flank from the back, then I think something can happen. But the thing is, this Ashe pick is being used beautifully because she continues to hit her Ashe arrows on the correct targets. In the last fight, she took out the threat of Syndra already off of the bat. That's almost kind of unheard of, where the Syndra is just found herself in the front line and she gets Ashe ulted. So I mean, this Syndra needs to be at the right place at the right time. She needs to be with her team, like she is now.
Yeah, not only that, but you're now noticing that Leona Del Bay is sticking around their carriers much more often so they can react to that Ashe arrow. Top side, though, it looks like they've got the CC layering down on this Fiora. She's going to make a run for it here, try to slide out. That Q did not make contact with anything, so it's the longer cooldown now. Walking into the rest of the team, stays alive a lot longer than I expect. The top Kench makes a move over the wall and saves the top laner, but he gets betrayed for it and thrown into the lion's den. He's forced to flash over the wall now to make his escape. They end up keeping all their lives. What is this? Godfist Yasuo just goes berserk and runs towards the enemy team, gets ignited up with the shields for the rest of the squad, keep him alive.
Yeah, and the rest of Squidwards is going towards this Baron. I don't know if this is the best idea, but they can definitely try and get some some vision off, maybe even.
Yeah, everything is devolving quickly.
I don't know what the hell's happening. Why? Like, I just see Olaf running, and I'm just like, why? Why is he going?
Yeah, like, what's happening?
Can we just all be friends? Like, what the hell's going on? But I really do like this strat coming out of Squidward's. Finally, they're starting to realize that they need to send their Fiora into the bot lane to try and create that split push style pressure. Because right now, this Galio is finally saying, finally, I'm out of this lane, and I want to try and do something. For the past 30 minutes, he hasn't been doing anything. And then finally, Fiora is just like, you thought wrong. And then starts to push down into his bot lane. Someone's got to go and get her. It's got to be that Galio. Real question is, can Fiora get this tower before anything happens? I don't know.
See, they don't even want to start when the Galio's down there because they know they win this 1v1. They really just want to dance around this Baron continually and let Fiora do her thing. Oh my god.
Like that.
No.
Like that.
She didn't even lose health. What tank item she has? She's got tabbies. Of course she can tank that many turret shots.
She got dance.
Of course she can tank that many turret shots.
Wait, no, you sent the...
No, you can't send that Ashe down there. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, hold on. She's doing it, dude. She's doing it, man. Hold on. Wait, no. Wait, no, dude. All right, the enchanted crystal arrow got dodged, and therefore the fight was over. Wait, the next one's coming in. Everyone's calm down. Everyone slow it up. All right. Here we go. All right, everyone shut up. Calm down. The fight has resolved. Fiora is finally dead. Wait, he's flying in, dude. He got it. Are you kidding me? He just puts on his Jordans, hops in the pit, and steals it away from four members of...
Are you freaking kidding me right now?
What is happening in this game?
They sent 4-5.
Oh,
the legend himself, Olaf, says, I had enough of your stuff, dude. Gets the blast cone, gets into the pit, smite. He's just like, you think I'm missing smites? You thought wrong.
Exactly.
And it just smites the Baron. Eat him. There you go.
All right, Ivern showing up, trying to get out of that one. Does get out of that little bit of a catch there. And this game is taking a turn very quickly, my friend. These guys are all over the place. They know that they have to try to handle this Fiora, and Fiora's doing a beautiful job of pulling the pressure down into this bottom lane. And it's going to keep happening because Horseman has not been put into a situation where they're forced to TP into a fight. If they really want to get Fiora out of the bottom lane, they have to aggressively engage with Come On Shoot Faster and Bacon-tastic and try to blow somebody up, because that's the only way you're going to get her to even channel that summoner spell.
And it's really cool because it's finally getting to the point where Fiora's starting to group here in the mid lane, because the rest of her team is probably saying, we need you. It's the one point in the game. Even though you got 2 kills bot lane and you attracted 4 people, we now need your threat in our team. So even though you...
The catch here for Horseman 4 forces the flash out. He riposts the Ashe arrow and just going to slide right through, saying, you know what? I'll just heal up off of Scuttle Crab. I'll trade your, 60-second ultimate for my, 12-second W. So that's pretty good, I guess. And he's able to stay alive.
Yeah, it's finally getting to that point where they're starting to, Squidwards are starting to move as a team. They're starting to move as a unit. They need to get objectives together, because it's finally hitting that 31-minute mark. The next dragon is going to be that Wind Dragon. So it's 3 Wind Dragons that could potentially be going on to the Squidwards, which could mean
another catch here, it looks like. Maybe Come On Shoot Faster, throwing down the auto attacks onto Leona Del Bay. The re-engage here for the Squid's wards showing up, though, as the ultimate had been thrown down onto Oriana. Looks like Horseman 4 trying to get onto Come On Shoot Faster. He picks up the kill, and Galio cannot finish this himself. He needs the rest of the support from his squad, and here comes Olaf cutting through. He's still not going to go down because the Ivern shields and the shielding coming out of just the rest of the squad in general. These guys making sure this Fiora stays up. Not only that, but he's got lifesteal as well, so this Fiora very hard to kill at the moment.
Riot, what the hell, man? Like,
anytime they make a champion with percent health true damage, I go, what are you doing? Like, why does this exist? It's too good.
Yeah, like, Fiora was in the middle of 4 people and didn't take a tick of damage.
Yeah, I know.
Like that. Hell.
It's so dumb. Like the double lifesteal items combined with the inherent healing you get out of her vitals. It's a ridiculous champion, dude. I ban that mess every single game. Dude.
Dude, she's got 300 CS at 33 minutes. She's freaking, well, not exactly 300. I'm rounding up at this point.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, it's fine. But she took the dragon on her own. She's like, get in my backpack. I don't care anymore. I'm grouping up with you guys. Just use everything on me. Be a shield for. Don't even be a shield for me. Just be a backline threat. Yeah. And I will just carry you, and that's it.
And you saw there in that last team fight as well, the grand challenge was thrown down onto, I think, Bacon-tastic, and he couldn't close the distance there, and it just didn't even matter. It didn't matter that the grand challenge didn't get procced almost at all. He just cannot be killed. He is too healy. What they really need, though, is they need some healing negation. That would actually help them kill this Fiora quite a bit. So if Ashe has a window where they can get themselves the Executioner's Calling, that 800 gold item that counters all the healing in the game, I don't know why that exists. That's a whole other discussion. But that would really help them handle this Fiora right now, because they need something that's going to allow their damage to stick. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing this exact same thing where they just walk through and kill everyone on the enemy team.
Yeah, and you saw exactly the positioning of Ashe in that last fight. It was basically like Ashe got not zoned away, but she chose the wrong pathing. Like, the rest of her team was going towards the Raptors, but she was going behind the red buff. So then Fiora immediately saw that and was like, I'm gonna kill you. And then she just immediately just blew that Ashe up. It was insane.
Yep, top lane looks like they were able to cancel the recall on Horseman 4 here. But let's take stock of the situation. 3 Windrakes available and picked up by Squid's wards, and it's allowing them to make some incredibly quick rotational plays. Flash out from Come On Shoot Faster, actually able to live with just a sliver of health at the end of the day. Top lane, and here's where Fiora is absolutely ridiculous. Why is she running past that man? Why is that allowed? Why does it have movement speed on it? Like, why does it have it's percent health true damage with healing and movement speed on the passive of a champion?
Yep.
Why does that exist? Come on.
Dude,
all right.
Flame Horizon and all.
Yeah. All right. TP coming in from Fiora in the mid lane, trying to assist in the siege on the mid. Technically, they could just go down to the bottom lane and create some additional pressure there, or actually the top lane. That minion wave's a little bit better prepped. But either way, these guys are trying to bear down on this mid lane inhibitor turret and see if they cannot finish this one off. But they don't have any heavy tank to throw at the turret and tank it up for them so they can get Fiora into the enemy team. So they have to play this one very slow here, and it's causing them a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's just kind of the wall that they're against, where they have to play very passively, even though they're like 10k ahead. And it's the one point where you never want to be in a team, but the thing that they definitely need is some sort of kill, and Fiora is finding it here in the top lane.
Yeah, top lane, grand challenge going. He didn't even get the 4th vital proc. It doesn't even matter. This champion is definitely balanced. It scales with AD, people. The true damage goes up as you get more AD. It doesn't make any sense. A chain of crushing thrown down, and it's going to be Bacon-tastic who cleanses out of that one, but there's no one available now to actually handle this Fiora in the top lane. It's a 3v5 on the map, and anyone who walks up is in threat of dying. As long as the rest of Squid's wards step up, where are these guys? This Fiora is going to be perfectly fine. Look at the amount of healing he's able to do solo, even despite the enemy Morello Namicon that's inflicting the grievous wounds on him, and stay alive for just so long. And that's the power of the Spirit Visage combined with 2 different lifesteal items.
Dude, I don't even know what to say anymore, man. This Fiora is just 1v9ing. And the rest of her team is just kind of there as like this backline threat. And even though Fiora gets into the fight, the rest of her team just says, objective? And then Fiora's like, don't worry guys, I'm just gonna 1v5. It doesn't matter if you just follow this, whatever. But this Fiora just acting as the split push threat. She's acting as the team fight threat. She's getting with her team. She's doing whatever that she basically needs to do in order to try and carry the rest of her team. And it's working perfectly fine. The last thing that they really need to do is either get the bot lane inhibs or the top lane inhibs. It's now the point of the game where they can go onto this Baron and then just one-shot it. And they can very well do that.
The immediate ultimate pop there by Olaf, recognizing that he is definitely in danger when he gets hit by that root collar. But yeah, Fiora, definitely the star of the show of this matchup. It's Fiora and then her merry band of characters, as the rest of everyone else is kind of just walking around in the background. It's like she hired extras for her movie. But either way, these guys really need to make sure that they continually play around Horseman 4 with this power spike, because it's at a point now where Horseman 4 can 1v3 people very, very easily. Flash out by Leona Del Bay actually puts these guys in a choke point, but Orianna cannot get in position to step forward and get a good shockwave. This might be it. If Orianna can get there, no, Syndra ultimate comes down and actually takes out the front line. Galio, whoa, Orianna shockwave rips through the health bars of these guys, and here comes Comanche Faster trying to see if he can't get some auto attacks down, but Leona Del Bay on this Tom Kench combined with Rusty on this Ivern and making it very difficult. Comes out, auto attack still coming through, and needs a couple more. Can't quite find the last one to finish off the kill, and this entire time Horseman 4 says, oh wait, but you guys forgot about me, the true hero of the story. This anime was written and designed for my character development, and if you don't recognize that, you're in for a disappointment at the end of the season. And here, look at this.
God.
Oh no. Oh, Jesus. Horseman 4 taking out the... And is this not the summary of how the game went right here? This picture? Horseman 4 taking out the Nexus by himself with a bunch of minions next to him? Like, there were other people in the game that they played pretty well, I'm sure. But my camera, the director of the camera here for Riot Games said that we're paying attention to Fiora this match. And that's just what I saw. I don't know what to say.
This is an analogy, because Fiora is the only true carry of the game, and basically the rest of her team were the minions.
Oh no.
Isn't that deep?
Oh, dude, that's heavy. I don't know if I can deal with that one.
Yeah. We're ending this cast off in a heavy mode.
Yeah, dude. All right, so that was the 2-0 victory by Squid's Wards over Relegades United. These teams definitely have some things that they showcased to us today, but it's really Horseman 4 who really came out on top. It's like it was Squid's Wards versus Relegades United, and then Horseman 4 on a third team, showing up to Summoner's Rift as well. But either way, let's take a look at these damage charts. You know they're going to be disgusting. Yeah, of course it is. Look at this mess. How much true damage dealt? Where is it?
What is this?
True damage? Where's true damage
I
dealt?
am the Horseman, by the way. Dude, these guys have families, man. Wow.
Wait, what? What am I looking at?
The hell's
here?
wrong with you? No, I'm kidding.
What am I looking at? What is this?
What am I looking at? What are you looking at?
I selected true damage dealt, and Ivern is 567,000
Yo,
damage.
Ivern's a god.
Wait, what is this?
Wait,
what
wait,
happened?
Ivan, dear.
Wait, Rito, I think I've spotted a bug. I think here's So the damage you deal to the minions when you clear camps is true damage? When you despawn your camps, that's the only way I can see this being an adequate value, is when you bend down and spend your passive, it deals true damage to the minions. Wait, Ivern isn't releasing them at all. He's giving them the most brutal killing that we've ever seen on Summoner's Rift.
Hell Riot.
Wait, this is gruesome. I don't know if I can handle this mess, dude. Wait, this is ridiculous. Alright. Either way, guys, that was the week 1 of Ascension eSports.
It's like, thanks for watching.
Wait, hold on a second. We've revealed a curtain, and there's Ivern eating the body of a small child. What? Riot? I thought he was everyone's friend.
The whole entire game, I was just saying, Ivern's useless, Ivern's useless. And then you look at damage out, and he's like, thank God.
It's like, wait a minute. Hold on, not just a god-darn second. Anyway, thank you guys for watching Ascension eSports, week number 1 of Elder League, I think season 3. Once again, I have been Stretch on your play-by-play casting, and he is TheSavedOne. You can follow us respectively at Stretch Beckham and at TheSavedOne17 on Twitter. If you want to figure out what else we do, because we get streams, we got YouTubes, we got all sorts of stuff popping off here. So if you want to get more of us, that's where you can find us. But the more important thing is to make sure that you follow Ascension eSports main channel. That's twitch.tv @esports_GG. That's the main channel you want to be following there. And if you're new to the community, if you're just showing up for the first time and you're like, what the heck is Ascension eSports? What's going on here? We are a community of League of Legends lovers, and we just absolutely adore the game. So we created our own league where we can compete against each other to see who's the best and use it as a training ground and kind of a dojo to improve our own skills in team play and personal mechanics without having the toxicity and the flame of solo queue. Yes, of course, it still exists because it's League of Legends, it's the internet, so it happens in a minor amount, but it's much less than you would see typically in your solo queue games. And yeah, if you were interested in getting involved, contact one of the mods either on the main channel or go grab some information from the Reddit, the subreddit. You can find all of that at twitch.tv_AEsports, twitch.tv/AEsports_GG. And yeah, Save, do you have anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And once again, Ivern is the most brutal killer of the entire League of Legends roster. I didn't think I was going to see that number today, but that is actually ridiculous.
But